And that is the case as it is for New England Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel and the Athletics NFL reporter Diana Russini. Diana Russini was a colleague of mine. I worked with her at ESPN. I know her fairly well. I haven't talked to her in probably 10 years. It's been about that how long I've been out. But these photos were picked up by Page Six. It was kind of in between the NFL owners meetings, which were in Phoenix, Arizona, and I think it was Arizona State's Pro Day. I think there was something around there that was like a break in the schedule. And this is at a resort in Sedona, Arizona, that both of them were seen. There is not anybody else in the pictures. There's the embrace with the fingers interlocking. That's a very unique. I don't even know if I do that with my wife, but that is something you probably do with your lover.
Yeah.
That's like, you look like young, in love, like 17-year-olds when you're embracing this way. Both of them are married, which is one that's just a rough look. Here's Diana's husband, and there's Vrabel's been married 20 plus years to his wife. Both of them had said it's just friendly. Mm-hmm. They said there were other people around, even though there aren't in the photos. This is a mess for both of them. I don't think you want to ever have this unfold, but now they've got to deal with the repercussions. Do you think anything comes of this?
I think only one of them is real. The sucky part about it is, and right or wrong, it's really one of them that's only at risk, as much as I hate to say it. Obviously, the worst look is they're both married. You mentioned that yourself. But from a professional standpoint, really only one of them stands to lose very much. Obviously, Mike Vrabel has been a very successful head coach in the NFL. So right or wrong, he ain't losing his job, right? Nothing about Mike Vrabel and his profession changes because of this. Still a bad look. Definitely, obviously leader of men, probably should be doing the right thing out there. If, allegedly if it ends up being anything. Diana Russini, on the other hand, that kind of puts a little bit of a chink in her, what she does. It kind of compromises the journalistic integrity, which is kind of the biggest thing with Diana Russini and her role in this whole thing. I mean, think about the last 3 weeks or a month. There's been so many rumors of a trade potentially the Patriots are going to be making, and there's been one person sort of spearheading these stories, and I'm talking about A.J. Brown potentially to the Patriots. Right. Every one of these stories is tagged from Diana Russini in it, and now you see in hindsight that she's kind of, I don't know, the word they say is like canoodling with the head coach of the Patriots, and it makes you think then maybe she's it just gives a bad look altogether.
Well, this is also what you never want to have happen. But once you're kind of exposed like this, then the internet goes to work.
Oh, yeah.
And there are so many clips of Diana Russini that are going around where she's casting major shade on her husband.
Yeah, it's tough.
She's kind of joking about partying too much in Miami. And she's a very flirtatious person. Like, I think that's the way you would best describe her.
Right.
And some reporters, both men and women, use that kind of, you get that little flirty attitude to try to get some sort of relationship with a coach or somebody you're trying to source information from. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it can end up like this, where maybe that flirtatiousness goes a little bit too far. But once they start digging in the past, this looks really bad. Then old reports that were rumors at the time, people are looking at it and saying, well, man, the rumors around Washington when she was a beat reporter for the Washington Redskins at the time, those start coming to light again, which were, those were rumors before she was hired at ESPN, and she denied them. The GM's wife denied them because the GM's wife basically put her on blast and was like, we know how you're getting these. It is because you're giving them sexual favors. I'll give you the clean version.
Yeah.
And so then those come back. There was another report from the New York Daily News. Did you see that one on David Bright?
I've heard that one goes as far back as like 2008.
Yes,
and I remember that because I lived in New York at the time.
Yeah.
And that's not, those two aren't even the last one. Like, I've heard allegedly that she was even scrapping with another reporter over Sean McVay.
I saw that too.
Point.
Yeah.
So that's what you don't want to do. You do, because like you said, man, once you give them a little bit, they're digging and they're finding everything. Because I never heard of these before. I mean, the 2008 thing, I was in New York. I heard that. I never heard of the McVay thing, right?
No.
That never came to light on my feed in anything. But now you've got a whole internet full of sleuths out there trying to dig out anything. And that's that is not a good place to be if you're Diana Russini right
Your
now.
name is all you have and your reputation. And that sometimes, you build up a good name, it can be torn down like that in an instant. I like Diana Russini, but I think her reputation kind of preceded her. A lot of people like, what's really going on there? Now, whatever journalistic chops she's had, those are all gone.
Right.
because of this. Like everyone's assuming, anytime she's broken a story, it must be because she was doing this. Where I hate that for her, but now that's the reality that she's having to live in because of some of these stories.
And you know who that does the biggest disservice to?
Other women reporters.
Bingo. You said it. Because now they've worked very hard, and there are some very, very good ones out there who do a really, really good job of keeping it professional, getting to the bottom of things, and dropping stories and announcing games. And they've been fantastic. And over the last 10 years, they've been more in the game than they ever have before, more access, more real good stories. And they're the ones who take a hit for this because now it's like, and we've seen it with like this kind of age, it kind of sucks. Like, I hate to swing it here, but you hear things like DEI, and then people are like, they're going to think that just because you're this, you didn't have the merit to get the job that way.
Right.
Well, that's what people are going to start to think now. They're going to start to think that look, let's be real, more times than not, they're attractive women that they put on these TV stations.
Right.
And in the field that they're in, people are taking shots at them all day, let's be honest. And so it leaves a bad look, and it does them the biggest disservice because now they're going to have to fight to prove that the reason that I'm here is because I'm good and I can actually do the job.
Right.
As opposed to I'm just taking shortcuts because I look like I look. You know?
I hate this story so much for all the hardworking women in sideline reporting, whether they're just overall general reporters, whether they're on camera, whatever they are, in our business, in broadcasting. I hate this for those women for two reasons. One, now everybody kind of assumes they're doing it, right? Oh, well, this is how it works. This is how everybody does it. This is how all these scoops happen. The other aspect I hate for it is there are a lot of women who work, and I've seen DMs that get propositioned all the time from coaches, players, and then when you see a story like this, players are like, or coaches or whoever it is, are like, oh, this is how it works. Hey, you want to go out? You want to meet up for a drink later? And these women who are trying to do it the right way and trying to keep it professional, most of them just turn it down or ignore it. But then sometimes it does cost them an opportunity. And you get somebody who's willing to kind of toe that line and maybe flirt a little bit or have that drink. And then maybe it goes a little bit too far. And then it makes it even harder on the hardworking women who are trying to do it the right way. And I hate that for them. And I would say the majority of women that I've worked with do things the right way.
Yeah,
of course, there's a small percentage who are looking for any angle, any way I can get in. They're just desperate to climb that ladder. But there are many more who have worked their tails off and turned down a lot of people and probably cost a lot of opportunities to get stories or to get that inside scoop because they didn't want to push that envelope.
Right.
And I feel awful for those women. That's who gets damaged the most, I think. Here.
100%. And you know what I'm going to be interested to see is, and it's something that I know rubs a lot of men the wrong way, right or wrong, is that there's almost not like a female way to do this job and a male way to do this job. They kind of all do it the same. So a lot of the females are open and outspoken and strong and brazen, I'll be interested to see if some of the female reporters who do it the right way get on their platforms and maybe they speak up for the first time. It'd be interesting. I think they probably won't go against the fraternity, but it would be the ones who are doing it the right way. You got the platform. You're always open to talk, right? Usually. So let's see you guys use your platform and talk about how, the right way to do it and how it's not what's going on a lot. And I'd love to hear their point of view.
I
on
would
this.
love to see them stand up too, right? When there's
Hannah
a Me Too
Storm,
movement,
Linda
they're
Cohn,
crushing you should stand up for your colleagues in the business that are doing things the right way.
Totally.
But it is a tough spot for them to be in. All right, so we don't think anything happens to Mike Vrabel as a head coach. I mean, personally, we'll see what happens. Both of them personally. Professionally, a lot of people have been kind of upset by this from Diana Russini's standpoint. She works for The Athletic. Again, she's one of their biggest voices. She was a big, hire for them, hiring away from ESPN. Do you think they do anything?
The Athletic?
Like her bosses. Does this put her job in jeopardy?
Well, I've tried to pay attention to how, like, what her first statements are going to be and, like,
Which, by the way, she really hasn't. I mean, I think her first tweet was today. And you talk about getting just ratioed in the comments.
Well,
nobody had a comment about it. Was some NFL story.
Well,
and every comment was like, how'd you get that? Who's this? And that was all it was.
Well, that's the thing. You took it out of my mouth is that I wanted to see if she would address it head on. I mean, she put up a tweet like nothing happened yesterday. So she put up a regular football tweet about a transaction or something going to camp. And I was like, oh, that's the way we're going to play this.
How many comments are we up to?
Oh, she's getting slaughtered. I mean, and you know what it reminds me of?
2,400? Is that what that says? in my eyes suck.
I
But
can't
yeah,
tell.
it's a lot. It's in the thousands, which I would say in a normal article, she probably gets 40 to 50.
And do you know what it kind of spins me back to? And you remember it happened to Joy Taylor like a year or two ago. And it was a matter of
Who is no longer working in media.
Correct. Is she going to, well, she's got her own platform now. And that's another outlet where I guess it's not as, in the old days, you get canned from one of the big, networks. It's the biggest deal. You may not have anywhere to go afterwards. But, you come back and you have your own platform. So I guess it's not the end of the world if something does happen. But yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. We saw like Joy Taylor, the same deal. She'd put something up, and the first 1,000 comments would have something to do with the story.
Now that one, again, if like you're judging these as far as which one's worse, which one's better, neither one of them are great. Like, they're just personally, they're awful.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
But when you're sleeping with the bosses to try to get elevated within the company, that's where it definitely will cost you your job. And it eventually did with Joy Taylor. Yeah. This is kind of different. It's her personal life. It's a personal thing. But the complex nature of how is she getting some of her sources and her stories does make you wonder, how much do you trust her anymore? And like when you're a journalist, and I use air quotes because we're sports, right? But when you're a journalist, like people are trusting you for information. And how do you look at her information and not say potentially is it compromised because it's been fed to you by somebody you're this close with?
And granted, it is all alleged at this point, but I mean, coming back, oh my gosh, coming back.
Just leave it on that one, Malik.
Coming back from 2008 till now, generally the rule, I mean, if there's smoke, there's fire. This has been the fourth or fifth time we've heard about it. It makes you believe how many times could it have happened that you haven't heard about it. And it's not a good look for her for sure. No. Not a good look for The Athletic either. You know?
Exactly. So, it's one of their lead voices.
And that's what we talked about. We've spoken about this before. Like, should you be able to say certain things in the uniform? And if you, like we talked about it with Jaden Ivey a week ago, right? Jaden Ivey lost his job, and people were saying you have freedom of speech, but you have to stand. You got to maintain a certain level of professionalism, or else you smear dirt on the whole operation. And that kind of takes the same shape here, where Diana Russini, she makes The Athletic look bad, and if they feel like this is too much, oh my gosh, look at this one.
Yeah.
Wow. You probably
that's the Coldplay concert. They're going through that one.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to have a field day. She's going to have to deal with this. I mean, it's kind of her bed. She made it. Now she's got to sleep in it.
Absolutely.
So now she's going to have to deal with this. Pun intended.
Interesting pun.
Yes, exactly.